In my flock right now, I have a mother hen who has baby chicks. Once she kind of weans them off of her, those baby chicks are gonna do fine. They're gonna integrate really well with the flock. The flock is used to them. But if I had hand raised these baby chicks, I would not be able to just put them with my flock at 6 to 8 weeks old, even though they're fully feathered. That would be so dangerous for them. They could get killed or they could get really hurt. So let's learn how to safely integrate your hand-raised younger chickens in with your established flock. Don't do it, E-Bear. Do not attack me. You are being rude, buddy. You are so handsome. I'm gonna put you down before you peck my eyes out. Hello, friends. Welcome to Chickenlandia. My name is Dahlia. I'm a backyard chicken educator, also known as the president of Chickenlandia. Raising chickens has been the best way for me to find peace and joy in my life, and I want to help you find that too. I get a lot of messages from people that get really discouraged when they're trying to integrate their younger chickens in with their established flock. So I wanted to start out this video really by saying that it might take a little bit of patience, but I have never seen a chicken that I cannot integrate into a flock. So with some patience and some understanding about the nature of chickens, you are gonna get through this, and I promise you, your baby chicks are going to become a part of your established flock. It will happen. It just might take a little bit of time. If you have been raising your chicks the Chickenlandia way, then from the time that they were little baby chicks until the time that they're fully feathered, you have likely exposed them to their outside environment. You've just given them all that good exposure to all the things in nature so that they can build some resilience before they're ready to go outside full time. You may even have had your baby chicks outside all day and then just brought them inside because it's getting a little bit, too cold for your comfort level at night, so you bring them inside. And this is the time when you can really start the beginning steps of integration. And it's very easy. I'm going to just lay it out for you right now. When they are fully feathered, usually between about 6 to 8 weeks old, it can be a little bit sooner if they're bigger standards. It can be a little bit later if they're very small bantams. At that point, you can take them and put them with your flock, but not immerse them in your flock. You can have them in a separate area, and I call this separate but seeing. They are in a separate area within your established flocks area, and they are able to see the flock is able to see them. They can get very close to each other, but they're in an enclosed area so that the flock cannot hurt them. Because older chickens, they will hurt young chickens. Young chickens are very submissive. They're very vulnerable. The younger they are, the more submissive they're going to be, and they're just really vulnerable to getting attacked by these cranky older hens that are like, what are you doing in my chicken yard? But if your chickens have a chance to really get used to those babies, they see them every day, they can work out a little bit of the hierarchy, through the fencing, however you have them separated, then that is just going to be so good for the time when you actually are physically integrating them in with your flock. And you'll have to figure out where they're going to sleep at night. Maybe you have a little separate enclosure inside that enclosure. For me, what I do is I'll put them in a little crate and I'll actually put them in the coop at night so they're still safe inside the coop. Of course, my coop is really big, so depending on what your situation is, you'll have to figure that part out. But the main thing is, during the day, all day, they are outside, the flock can see them, they can see the flock, but they cannot get to each other. So let's say you've had your younger chickens separate but seeing, but they've been in there for, a few weeks. How long should you wait before you actually, open those doors and let them integrate with the rest of the flock for real? Of course, this chicken is going to start going now. Okay, I gotta move because my chickens are being loud. So I'm gonna just give you a really rough timeline. None of this is set in stone for when you can physically integrate your chickens, your younger chickens completely in with the established flock. What age do they need to be? And this is according to what size they are. So if you are integrating standard chickens to standard chickens, then if you want to be extra safe, I would wait until they're about 12 weeks old to put them in with the established flock. Even though they're still really young and they're still submissive, they're not that small. They're like almost the same size as the adult hens. And there will still be some squabbling happening. The older hens will still scold the younger hens. They will chase the younger hens. It's hard to watch, but it is normal. What is not normal is if you see, blood being drawn. Or let's say an older hen just completely backs a younger chicken into like a corner and is just relentlessly bullying that chicken and doesn't like back off. If that happens, you really need to start that process of integration again and give them some more time where they can see each other but not get to each other. If you are integrating bantam younger chickens in with an established flock of standard chickens, those younger chickens really need to be about 16 weeks or older, okay? And the reason for that is once chickens get to be mature, and certainly for female chickens, when they get to be like 16 to 18 weeks, they're getting towards the time when they're gonna start laying, and they're much more assertive. They're like less submissive during that time, and they're less likely to put up with a bunch of shenanigans from some cranky old chickens, okay? Especially if the standards have never seen a bantam before, you really wanna wait as long as you can. So after 16 weeks to be safe. And in this case, I do wanna tell you, it might take longer. It might take a while to integrate them, but I have integrated tiny, tiny chickens in with my flock, okay? And it just takes a little bit of time, takes a little bit of patience, but it will get done. It is hot. Either it's hot out here or my hormones are going crazy. Henopause. All right, if you are integrating standard chickens in with like some little flock of bantams, which would be very funny and cute, I would wait until the standard chickens are about 10 weeks old. And when they're fully feathered, bring them out, have them in a separate but seeing area for a couple weeks, and then at 10 weeks old, you should be able to integrate them in with the bantams. It shouldn't be a problem. If it is, as always, you just start the process over again. The most common way that people actually physically put their chickens together, when they're ready to be all together, is they will actually put the younger chickens on the roost at night, and then when everybody wakes up in the morning, they're all together. Now, if you do it that way, I will strongly recommend that you get out to the coop early in the morning, like right when the sun comes up. Let them out of the coop, give them lots of space, and make sure that everything's going okay. You don't want to just leave them in the coop and it's daylight outside and they're like stuck in that coop together. If there's any problems, if the integration is not going well, then the younger chickens will not have anywhere to go. They'll be like stuck in the coop. To make things as easy as possible during that integration, it is really best for your chickens to have enough room. Like, this is really important because those younger chickens, they really need to be able to get away from the older ones. And it is best to also put some, more than one feeding station around, a feeding and watering station. I'll have like 3 or 4 feeding and watering stations, when I'm integrating younger chickens or any chicken. And that way I feel comfortable that everyone's getting to food and water, because it is very common for the older chickens to do everything they can to keep those young chickens away from food and water. And it's really just like, come on, don't do that. But that is their nature, okay? So we use our nature to kind of mitigate the issues that can come up with their nature, okay? So that we can get the result that we want. Aside from having enough space, you need to have enough enrichment in your space. And during this time, you can give your chickens, some extra healthy treats, just some things to like occupy them, put some branches or whatever in their area, so that the older hens don't have the opportunity to just fixate on the fact that there's newbies in the flock. You just distract them as much as you can. And one of my favorite ways to distract my chickens is to give them a flock block. It's like a treat block for chickens. You can buy them online. There's a few different companies that make them, but what I like to do is make it at home, because when I make it at home, I can make it actually healthy for them, okay? And guess what? I have a recipe on how to do that. It is super easy, and it's right on the screen right now. All you have to do is click on it. And of course, it's 100% friendly. Backyard Chickens, education and entertainment. And I know You're gonna love it.